Hello, my name is Yaron. I'm the music director for Center Spiritual Living in Los Angeles. This is Ben, my friend, and we're going to play a couple of songs for you this morning. Going to start with a summertime song. Ready, Ben?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. In the summertime, when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you get women on your mind. Have a drink, have a dime, and now you can see what you can find. Well, if a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just to do as he feels. Speed along the lane, do a ton over a ton of 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it in a good late night. In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women and got men on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, and go. You can see what you can find. Have a drink.
What a joyful way to start the morning or afternoon, I guess, for you, Jets, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome. Good.
Ben, can you close the closet? Can you close? We forgot to close the closet door with all my beautiful shoes there.
Did someone send you a text requesting you close the door?
Oh, maybe.
Ben, what a joy it is to have you joining us this morning along with our beloved Euron Spiewak.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you here. I heard the story earlier this morning that you had been performing at an amusement park, and then you met Euron in Maine, but then you took off and went back to somewhere in the Midwest, and Euron said, get your booty over here to the land of Provincetown, and it'll be much more prosperous for you. And you did that, and look at what a blessing that's turned out to be that we get to share in your gifts with our beloved Euron this morning. So happy to have you both here. Say that again,
Yes,
Euron?
thank you.
So I feel very blessed to have been around here too.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you are just taking in all of the artist energy in Provincetown and that beloved community and colony that thrives so in the summertime. And it is indeed summertime. So, exactly. Well, good. Well, I look forward to sharing this service with you all in just a bit. So, see you soon.
Good. We'll be right here.
He's leaning over to turn off his camera. He was going to do it differently, and I made him move the piano so we could see him. So we get a close-up of his dental work. So hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. I had a little mind blank in the moment of like, who are we? Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And we come together each and every Sunday morning to remember who we are as divine beings and giving us the opportunity, and through that reminder, a situation in life, a scenario for us to not only remember who we are, but to use that remembrance in a way to empower ourselves to make a difference every day in our own life and the lives of those around us. And so I welcome you wherever you may be joining us today, whether it's live through Zoom and or through YouTube Live, or at a later date if you're joining us through one of those channels, And remember that we come together to be together in mind, in heart, in soul, and in community. So today, it is August 18th in the year 2024, and it is indeed summertime around the world. I've got a large fan across from my desk over here, which hopefully you can't hear, that's blowing cool air and providing a breeze for us. And it's both energetically summertime for all of us, as well as if you're certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, as well as it is just that where it's time for the living to just be easy. And so today, I've made the decision that we're going to have an easy, relaxed, just chill service. We had a big service in person last Sunday. Today we're going to be online and just open ourselves up to just kind of be relaxed and enjoy the day and no pressure and be inspired. We come together to be inspired by the thing itself. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, Dr. Ernest Holmes refers to this power that we're all imbued with as the thing itself. It's actually the first chapter of the first 4 chapters that are considered the foundation of our teaching that really kicks off this book called The Science of Mind. It is that which is the foundation that is the core, if you will, for this teaching, this philosophy, this faith, this way of life that has been imbued into Dr. Ernest Holmes by means of opening up and allowing all of the great spiritual teachings at the time to move through him, not as a channel, but certainly as an avenue to use his individualized mind to concisely, certainly at the time concisely, put together this approach to living life called the Science of Mind. And so today I'm going to focus on Ernest Holmes later in the service and a myriad of his quotes to provide for us this inspiration. But prior to us doing that, I'm going to put on the screen our slides for the day and our slides for this portion of our service today. And I invite you, no matter where you are, if it's safe for you, to just chill out, relax, lay back, and open yourself up to hearing something that provides inspiration. Yaron and Ben are going to provide some really fabulous music for us. We're going to move into our opening ritual as we do that every Sunday morning, and just let today be a day to just allow yourself to receive, just to receive the thing itself in a new way. And so we move into this day, August 18th, 2024, to remember that here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, our vision statement is to support individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Over this last week, I've thought a lot about the aspect of spiritual awakening. It certainly has an esoteric meaning for all of us, but it also provides for each of us an opportunity to let it mean something different to us each and every day, each and every moment that we open up to being in tune with the divine energy that is us, and to let go of any prescribed ideology in regards to spiritual awakening and just let it present itself to us. I'm going to drink a lot of water today, by the way. I'm just feeling kind of needing to hydrate, so know that that's happening. If you look on the screen, it's an image, an animated image that we've used many times in our service, and I invite you to really look at it right now. And look at this being. Let this being be an image of someone you may know, of maybe of yourself. And to let the visual of this beloved being of light opening up to receive the light of the divine, that is the energy force that is life itself. And what we're taught in our teaching, and really taught as humans, is that that which we receive is our responsibility to give back, so that we may stay in the flow of the thing itself. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, Dr. Ernest Holmes refers to the thing itself as God, source, intelligence, wisdom, the infinite, you and me. And so as we look at this great little image today, let's all act out the visual that we see by taking a deep breath in, holding our hands together in prayer position as if we were moving into namaste position. And as we breathe in again, close your eyes if that's comfortable and safe for you. Feeling the energy in your heart, that place behind the rib bone. Continuing to breathe, and then take another inhalation and exhale. Opening your eyes if that feels good, looking at the image on the screen, and letting this be an image and a reminder for each of us that we have before us the opportunity every time we take a breath to allow in more and more of the thing itself through our awareness, through our choices, and through our willingness to align ourselves with our purpose, which is to stay in the flow of the thing itself. Say with me, Namaste. As a community, we come together to welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you. You are safe here, expressing yourself just as you are. In today's world, we all live in an opportunity to see the diversity of life itself, to be part of the diversity of life itself, and to remember that we are not bound by skin color, by birthright, by economic situations, by religion, by country of origin. That we're all pure expressions of the only thing that there is, which we call God in our teaching. And so not only do we honor and acknowledge all that is, but we welcome and celebrate it. I've thought a lot over the last week of our founding teacher and minister, Dr. David Walker. And he used to say with a great statement of verboseness, I don't know if that's the right word, but he would be quite verbose in affirming this affirmation that I'm about to put on the screen and believing it. And let's all say it together, remembering that our word has power. We welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we come together to teach primarily the science of mind. At its core, the belief is that there's one thing happening in the universe, and it's life itself, and that it is one power that you and I individualize. My favorite Ernest Holmes quote, many of you have heard time and time again, is, "Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you." Meaning that as we individualize this one power, it becomes quite unique in its expression, and that we individualize it as an expression of mind itself. So what that means is that as we use our mind, it's important to do our best to align it with the qualities of the divine that we all express. And in so doing, to also remember that we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law. That which we think and act as and respond to is responded to by the law of life, and it provides to us life experiences that are reflective of the totality of who we know ourselves to be, as well as it responds to us to how we know ourselves to be in the very moment. And so what we're called to remember, to act in accordance with, and to give ourselves forgiveness when we act in accordance with something different than our divine nature, is to open up to our spiritual awakening, and then let that give us opportunity for personal self-empowerment. Once again, our vision statement is providing honor and acknowledgement for individuals as they are on their journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Today, I affirm for each one of us that we're going to have that spiritual awakening, and to let it be a foundation and a template for what's to come for us as the week unfolds. You see the light of the candle flickering on the screen. Our ritual is called calling in the light. And today, as we promote and perform this ceremony, we do so to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all faiths and all peoples, all sentient beings come from and are the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our time together this morning a more conscious awareness for you and for me of the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. So I'll take a deep breath in together and exhale. And just allow the spiritual truth of this energy to wash over us, that you and I possess the qualities which allow us to be complete expressions of the divine. I'd like to share this Buddhist prayer for peace today. And when I use the term may, in our teaching we affirm that as it already exists. It's not necessarily inviting it to come be a part of us, it's an acknowledgement of that which is. So I invite you to hear it that way. May all beings everywhere plagued with sufferings of body and mind quickly be freed from their illnesses. May those frightened cease to be afraid, and may those bound be free. May the powerless find power, and may people think of befriending one another. May those who find themselves in trackless, fearful wilderness, the children, the aged, the unprotected, be guarded by beneficial celestials, and may they swiftly attain Buddhahood. That Buddhahood is in our teaching what we call a spiritual awakening. Yaron and Ben are going to come on the screen and anchor in this ritual by our singing together the song Calling in the Light.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart, I am free. Spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole and calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light, oh Lord. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is, and amen. That rendition of Calling in the Light was just so light and beautiful. So thank you, and I love the addition of Ben and his energy there.
Thank you. You know what? I'm gonna fix the thing so you can see his head.
We can see his head.
His head?
We can see
really?
him.
I thought it was cut out or something.
No, we can see him. We can see him and his smile and his.
Here we go.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. So, and his chapeau.
Yeah, he's gonna drive around town afterwards. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it. So I know you are really excited about picking music for today because you love the theme of summertime. The theme is actually Ain't Got No Summertime Blues. So
Yeah, we
what's the
almost
next?
wanted to do this.
Go
We
ahead.
almost wanted to do summertime, the Gershwin's thing, but I was like, no, that's too cliche. So we picked some other cool things. We picked "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. Doesn't get better than that.
No. And so which one are you doing next?
We're gonna do "Here Comes the Sun" by the
All
Beatles.
right. Well,
It's the
take it
start of
away.
the beautiful morning. All right.
Uh, uh, G. Go back to. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Little darling, the smiles return into their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Yeah.
Little darling, it feels like ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
It's alright.
Simply beautiful and joyful and inspiring.
you.
You two harmonize really, really, really well together.
Great.
Thank you.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. So I would say take the show on the road, but you want to keep it anchored down in P-Town for a while.
Yeah, right. This one is gonna go in the list. I have a feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, good, 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 good. So wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you. See you guys in a
We'll
bit.
be back soon. Thank you.
Enjoy. So I'm putting on the screen the slide for today. I'm going to take us through, for my message, a plethora of quotes from Dr. Ernest Holmes. Today is normally, well, it's not normal. Today is the third Sunday of the month, and normally on the third Sunday of the month, I have a conversation with someone, and that had not been booked for August. Most everyone is in the spiritual communities are either booked or many ministers take the month of August off. So today I thought I would have a conversation with my inner self, using these quotes as a guide for us. Once again, it's just a relaxed way to anchor into more of what we know in this teaching, and to also hopefully hear something anew, and really with the intent. My intent as I thought about it was for us to find some really simple approaches for each of us to use over the next week, to use our teaching in a way that brings us comfort and solace and empowerment and spiritual awakening. So I trust that that is what is unfolding today as we look at these quotes from Ernest Holmes. You've all probably seen, well, I know you have because I've used this slideshow before, but let's trust to know that we're connecting with it today with a new framework of mind, which it has to be because we've never been in this very moment before of 10:55 a.m. on Sunday Pacific time, Sunday, August 18th, 2024. And as I said that, I even thought to myself, it really doesn't matter what time I quote because spirit, the energy, that which we're imbued with, does not know or is not bound by time itself. The quote that I begin with from Ernest is this: the great spiritual geniuses, whether it was Moses, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, Christ, or Emerson, have taught to look within to find God. What that sparks within me in this moment is, just as I spoke of that which is timeless, as intelligent and educated beings, we all have the wisdom within us to think of each individual that Holmes references and think of it in the context of time. Let's think back of the time when Moses existed, so 2,000 years ago. Buddha, I don't know how many years ago, but certainly quite some time. Plato, same thing, I could throw a number, but I don't have it in front of me as accurate. Socrates. We know that according to the stories, the history of Christ, he was nailed to a cross 2,024 years ago. And Emerson, which would have been roughly 120 years ago. That all of these individuals lived as human beings in a time that was not the same time that we're experiencing in the moment, and this power that is within us as intelligence and wisdom, as life, as the guidance, is the same right now as it was within them. It has not changed, nor has our accessibility to it. That's profound, right? Let's take that in. That intellectually, we all know we're imbued with the same energy as Moses, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, Christ, or Emerson. The question is, are we giving ourselves the space, even though it's not bound by time and space, but I say that so that we can interpret it in a way to process it, an avenue or a vehicle through our minds to do through us what it did through each of these individuals. Holmes tells us that if we're looking to access it, such as Moses, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, Christ, and Emerson, and to know that through their teachings, they taught us the way to access it is to look within. So what does that mean, to look within? We're being told that it's not something that's external. It's something we're already imbued with. So then, what that means is that our role is to turn inward, meaning energetically, mentally, and connect to it that which is already there. And then through that connection, which is going to feel differently for each one of us because we're different, and it's also going to feel different for each one of us wherever we are on the journey of our connecting to it. And it's going to feel differently given the circumstances that we're in which we're connecting to it. And then to know that it doesn't mean that it's more or less within each one of us at any given time, nor is it more or less right now. I was counseling a client that I counsel a lot over the last few years on Wednesdays today, and he was really beating himself up because he was saying, I'm really upset with myself because I've been spiritually less. And I was saying to him, dude, that's impossible. You may have feel as if in a less manner you're connecting to the power that is within you, but you can't be less and it can't be less. That's incongruent to its nature and your nature. It's also incongruent to the foundation of what we teach in this philosophy, that we are one with that which is. God is one word for it, but also its nature is infinite. Therefore, our nature is infinite as a perfect, whole, complete expression of that which is. I think of my first teacher, Kennedy Schultz, right now. And he would put his finger to the screen, really up on the podium, and go, and so ends the lesson. Meaning we could finish right there. I don't think we're going to. But that in and of itself is enough information to prompt us all to think differently, which is really why I wanted to use these quotes today and to look at it this way, just so it can stir up within each of us, not in a way that, as I've been told often, I make your brain hurt. I'm not looking to make our brain hurt today. I'm looking for us to feel lighthearted and like, yeah, I can use this stuff today in a new way over the next week that's coming my way. What does Holmes tell us in this next quote? He says, we should believe. Now, I want to address this should word because I counsel my clients to never use the word should. Don't put shoulds on yourself. But let's understand what Holmes is. Holmes is encouraging us in this moment through the word should to find a new spiritual awakening. That's really what he's doing. And I'm liking the way that I set these quotes up in this black and white framework all of a sudden. I just felt the need to say that. Here's this quote. We should believe that God, remember you get to define God whatever way you want to. We should believe that God is the invisible partner in our lives and affirm that divine love goes before us and prepares the way. I read this quote. I got up and read these quotes this morning before I went on my walk. And I ran into one of our beloved members, Philip Nemo, who's probably on here today, but he'll appreciate this because we see each other oftentimes out walking in the mornings. And it was early and I was on a walk and swinging around having a good time. And I'd been listening to a book through my audibles. And then I turned it off and I thought, I want to do what this quote tells me, to believe that God is this invisible partner in our lives. And I wanted to affirm that the divine love goes before me and prepares the way. And by means of that preparing the way, it's opening up a space that I can attract back into my world, that which is a reflection of my conscious tuning into the thing itself, its nature of being infinite and of perfection, wholeness, and completeness. And as I was doing that, I started to see the world differently, literally see the world differently, and appreciate the energy of what I was seeing in front of me, and really consciously slowing down and letting Sweeney sniff every time she wanted to sniff. And I was doing that because I thought it would teach me a great lesson in slowing down. Also remembering to not be egoically driven, that it's all about me. And to understand and accept that I've learned that dogs see with their nose. And so every time she's sniffing, she's seeing the world differently, which is giving me an opportunity to see the world differently. And all of a sudden I look up and I see before me where God has prepared the way as divine love. And who's walking towards me? Philip Nemo. A hug. Now I share this story because it's one of comfort and of love and of as an example for all of us to tune in to whatever's going on around us in a new way. And to do that with a sense of expectation, not out of arrogance, but just out of faith and trust. This quote is telling us that the energy of the divine it's its invisible partner. Granted, it may show up in a visible format because its nature is to take our consciousness, our awareness, to respond to it because a law of life, that's its nature, to respond by corresponding, and to provide to us in the field of effect or experience an outward physical form that is reflective of the sum total of who we know ourselves to be and how the law has responded. Where in your life today can you begin to play with this in a new way? That this energy that is the divine, our invisible energy, it's also known as divine love, is beyond the physical realm in which we are. Why is that? Because it's infinite by nature. And that when we tune into it, know that it has preceded us in the physical form, clearing the way for anything that is contrary to its nature. And we all know what its nature is: peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. He goes on to tell us that through this quote, we should ask ourselves this. Here and now, we're surrounded by, remember that it has prepared the way. We are surrounded by and immersed in, so we're immersed in it and it's immersed in us, an infinite good. Now, I love this statement. I'm going to address it before we move on, because in our teaching, good, uppercase G-O-O-D, is a synonym for God, for the thing itself, for source, for life. Now, he's telling us that we're surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. He's not just telling us an infinite God, he's saying, and it's also good by nature. You and I get to use our mind to say, okay, good, certainly good, not as in bad, but good as in that which brings us joy, that which brings us peace, that which empowers us, that which is light and life and love. Love, quickly show it out, throw it out there, as the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself. He does that through you, through me. A great example of that was slowing down this morning on my walk, letting Sweeney sniff and open up to an expression of a magnetic energy that got to share in time together, the beloved Philip. So that was one example. Holmes goes on to tell us, well, how much of this infinite good is ours? All of it! That's a big idea. Sorry to scream at you, but I want to scream so that we could take it in. As much of this infinite good as we can take in is ours. He says, how much of it may we have to use? All of it. Well, how do we access it? As much as we can embody. Well, how do we embody it? By turning inward to the invisible force, connecting to it, opening up, and letting it express itself through us. We do that, as the next quote tells us, to realize. Where do we realize? In our minds, our heart, in our soul, in our being. To realize that the power is ever present, ever available, is to know that all of the wisdom, all of the intelligence, and all of the power of the universe is right where you are. In this moment, yes. It was also right where Moses, Buddha, Socrates, Plato, Christ, and Emerson was. We covered that already, but I thought it would be important to reinforce it. It's right where you are right now. It's also right where I was every 3.5 miles of my walk this morning. It's also everywhere Sweeney was, my beloved four-legged spiritual offspring known as a boxer dog. It's also everywhere Philip was. It's also everywhere every single one of you and every single expression of life is all the time. And no matter how we've thought or acted or reacted or interacted or remembered who and what we were and are, it's there, and its nature is impersonal, first, important to remember, but second, because it's impersonal, therefore it's non-judgmental. It's not measuring when you last remembered. It's not judging what your behaviors were or are going to be. And it's not holding a scorecard. That's not its nature. That is unlike its nature. So therefore it can't happen. That alone is something to begin to tune into in a new way, because on some levels we all probably hold some vestige of an old idea of that being a possibility and maybe even a probability. Well, how much of it can we have? We can have all of it, he told us. Well, he goes on to tell us now, the secret to having it all is by making the conscious decision to believe that you already do. I'm remembering right now a moment in the classroom for the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science on Wilshire Boulevard. Many of you may have gone to that classroom. 6404 Wilshire was the address. I remember it so vividly. What I remember is having an aha moment, a spiritual awakening. I'm tapping on my temple of getting this concept. The secret to having it all is believing you already do. Why? Because we already do. It's within us. He told us that 4 quotes ago. It's within us already. It's there. Our role is to allow it to make itself known through us and then to let it out. We've witnessed this morning the letting out of it freely already by Ben and your own, letting the divine, the Christ, the thing itself, the Yahweh, the energy, to move through them and share their light, their life, their gift, their God self. So what is ours to do in this process? Well, he tells us in this quote, whoever dwells on beauty tends to become beautiful. Now remember, beauty in this context, he's using it as one of the qualities of the divine. I'm going to repeat them. I know we all know them, but let's hear it in the context of what we dwell on. Peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, wisdom. To choose one. Whoever dwells on wisdom tends to become wise. Whoever dwells on power tends to become powerful. Whoever dwells on light tends to become light. Whoever dwells on joy tends to become joyful. Get it? Make sure that becomes a spiritual practice today. Because he goes on to tell us that through that dwelling, meaning focusing, opening up to, practicing, affirming, making choices in alignment to that, he says, as we choose to do that and become these qualities of the divine, that on this journey there will be grace and charm to expressing itself through that person, which no one can fail to recognize and appreciate. Meaning, parking lot for a second, stop. The core of our teaching is change your thinking, change your life. That's what he's saying right here. He says when we change our thinking to dwell on these qualities of the divine or any other aspect, even if we were to dwell on good, uppercase G, life tends to become more good-oriented or godly, because it's a synonym, that as we make this choice and choose to then focus or dwell on this, that the spirit of life responds to us by corresponding, that's its nature, and in so doing brings forth through us in life itself grace and charm, and that we can't fail to recognize or appreciate that because it's happening not to us, but through us. Let's all take a deep breath in. And exhale. How do we do that? We do that by choosing to have a perception of wholeness. In other words, choosing to perceive that we're already imbued with that which we're dwelling on, because it's all one thing. Synonym for oneness, wholeness. So he says, as we then choose to allow ourselves to know that there's only one thing, and that wholeness is what indeed is there, oneness, that in that process, that begins to develop for you and I, and then reveal through us a consciousness of healing. In other words, going back to the walk this morning, before I chose to turn off the book I was listening to and tune into the oneness, there was some angst through the energy. So in that moment, I wasn't connecting to the wholeness or the oneness, right? Now, obviously, it's a big idea, but I'm wanting to bring it down into a practical, applicable, everyday life. So as we choose to then tune into and dwell on beauty and grace and charm and peace and power and beauty and all of it, right? that in that shift that's happening through us of consciousness, of charm, and of grace, then that consciousness of healing unfolds. In other words, we begin to feel in our mind different than we did before, and that feeling is a reflection of the qualities that we're imbued with, and we get to feel that because we made a choice to change our thinking. The Bible tells us to turn the other cheek, not so it can get smacked, so that we can see things anew. Remember in the Course of Miracles, I had a brain fart there for a second. In A Course in Miracles, the miracle is choosing to have a new perspective. And as we're choosing to have a new perspective, as we're choosing to think anew, as we're choosing to let go and let God guide us, it's important to remember this spiritual truth. All the power of the universe. All the power of the universe. All the power of the universe is with you. He goes in to tell us, okay then, sister, feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. Bing ching. Another foundational, fundamental component of our teaching. So I'll take a deep breath in and feel it. Ready? Inhale. Exhale and feel all the power of the universe. Now allow yourself to connect to that place within you that knows that it knows that this is true. And then within your next act, nobody's saying it has to be every act of your actions going forward, but with the next one, act as if this were true. Give yourself the gift in this very moment to make a commitment to yourself to do this throughout your day, to the best of your ability, to feel all the power of the universe is with you, to know it, yes, intellectually, but more viscerally, and then to act in the next statement as if this was true. I love this next quote from Holmes because it brings it back to how we act as if it's true. On this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening from this moment forward, here's what he's telling us to do, to know this. I, the individualized expression of the divine, must be myself. What he's saying is, get ready. You're going to encounter life on this journey. You're going to encounter individuals. You're going to encounter each other. You're going to encounter your own monkey mind. He says, I, as an expression of the divine, must be myself. If you can love me for what I am, we together shall be happier. If you cannot, I'm going to release you, sister, and I will seek to deserve that you should know this. Don't you love that statement? I'm going to seek to deserve that you should know it. In other words, that you should have the great opportunity to engage in the energetic realm of my knowing who I am, not out of arrogance, out of deep, visceral awareness and consciousness. He goes on to say, I must be myself, and I will not hide my taste or aversions. Rather, I will trust that what is deep is holy. Yesterday, I attended online. You guys have heard me speak of this beloved being, Olivia Walter, before, and we did prayer work for her. She's a young adult who came to our programs for the Center for Spiritual Living when I ran the young adult programs, and she's this deeply, 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 deeply connected being, and had this ministry in life of courting the presence of God in a new way. And she was just on her way to becoming a very successful musician, and while in Germany with her band to record a new album, was supposed to leave and go to Spain this morning, that particular morning, and chose, something within her told her to not, and she needed to go for a walk. And as she stepped out into the streets in Germany, she stepped off the curb, and she and a tram had a physical encounter that caused her to almost lose her life. And over time, she was trapped in her body. She had no couldn't speak, had no ability to physically move. And that went on for 18 months until she left this plane of action. And in the theme yesterday of all the people that spoke in her service and that had known her and visited her, all said her awareness never once wavered. That she was so awake and alert and alive inside a body that didn't function in the way that it had functioned before. It was sad and it was heartbreaking and disheartening, and yet everyone knew that her journey had not stopped. Her father, in closing the service yesterday, shared that she had had a conversation with him, the last one she had had with him while she could communicate audibly. And one of the things that she shared with him was that she had this deep, deep calling to court spirit in a new way. And something was calling her to believe that it was time for her to live a monastic life. He said he didn't realize until deep into this healing time of her having lost her physical capacities in life, and before she passed and moved on, that he remembered that conversation. And he said what he remembered was that her nature, as it always had been since childhood, and we heard story after story after story of her communing with spirit as a child in a very existential way, was to make sure that her entire engagement of life was deep and it was holy. And he believes that she now has this, that she had it for the last 18 months of her life, and she needed to be released from her body so she could have it in a new way. I share this story with you today as a reminder, much like the thing that was inside of Moses and Socrates and Buddha and Plato and Christ and Emerson and inside Olivia and inside you, that your communion with it is deep and it's as holy and as deep as you allow it to be. I'm not judging how anyone lives their life, and I don't want you to either. But what I do want you to do is to listen to this statement and let it be true for you. I must be myself. If you, the external world, can love me for who and what I am, then we shall have a happier existence. If you can't, I'm going to turn inward and seek, meaning to know, to deserve that you should. For you, I'm affirming for you that you have this deep and holy experience. But no matter what, I'm going to choose to be myself. And I'm not going to hide my taste or my aversions, meaning I'm not going to hide what works for me and what doesn't. Rather, I will trust that which is deep inside me, this yearning to stay connected to my divinity and to express it accordingly is holy. Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. My favorite Holmes quote of all times. Today, I invite you and I encourage you, and I do the same for me, to court the presence in a way that whatever that serves you, but feel free to make it fun, simple and engaging and playful and experimental. And to know that as you do, it will always be there. Remember that the law of life must be subjective. The soil knows how to take a seed and make a plant from it. It does not know whether it's making a tomato or a potato or a fuller expression of you. It just simply responds. Let that be a part of this journey that you open up to on this journey of your life. And when negative forces that are operating in our lives we'll know that they'll die a natural death if we practice the habit of being disinterested in them. Today, as we each open up to riding this ride of the journey of being more personally self-empowered and spiritually awake, let's remember that we're already as spiritual as we'll ever be. Holmes says this: we can no more do without spirituality than we can without food, shelter, or clothing. But spirituality is not something that you become more of. It's just something that you choose to allow to be more present in your everyday life. Choose to look at it as food and shelter and clothing. It's a necessity in life. I can personally say that over the last 8 weeks, I've become more conscientious of the food I put in my body, my relationship with food. Today, I invite us all to become more conscious and conscientious of our relationship with our spirituality. Not with guilt, not with any resentment, and not with any undue, unnatural pressure. Let's just do it as a natural course of action. Love, the self-givingness of spirit, it's already there within you. It cannot be destroyed and it cannot be ignored. To the extent that we abandon our spiritual nature, we'll feel that it's abandoned us. Denying love, the nature of spirit, is our only problem, and embracing it is our only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of our history or herstory and begin again. Today, let you and I choose to let love, Spirit's nature, heal us, forgive us, and make us whole. Let's let all of what is unfolded through these quotes today be a guide for us to start anew, to literally start anew and enjoy it and know that it's calling from deep within us to express more of itself. I affirm that that's happening right now for all of us, that something has been awakened within us, and it provides us empowerment, and that we're guided along on the journey. It's a good journey, uppercase G-O-O-D. I know it. I know it for me, and I know it for you, and I know that you know it for yourself as well. Thank you. What a fun little message to give today. Much, much fun. Yaron and Ben are going to come back on and take us through another song that will continue to reinforce what we're growing in today. Because here we grow again.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we're ready to walk on some sunshine.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to think maybe you love me now, baby, I'm sure. And I just can't wait for the day when you knock on my door. And now every time I go for the mailbox, gotta hold myself down. Oh, 'cause I just can't wait till you write me you're coming around. I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, walking on sunshine. Oh, and don't it feel good? Yeah. Well, I used to think maybe you love me now. I know it's true. I just can't spend my whole life just waiting for you. I don't want you back for the weekend, not back for the day. No, no, no. 'Cause baby, I just want you back, and I want you to stay. Now I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, it don't feel good. Walking on sunshine, ooh, I'm walking on sunshine, ooh, I'm walking on sunshine, oh, it don't feel good. Sing it. Walking on sunshine, ooh, I'm walking on sunshine, ooh, I'm walking on sunshine, ooh, and it don't feel good.
It does indeed feel good.
It
That's
did.
really good.
Amen.
Amen.
Bringing the sun from P-Town to Los Angeles.
Absolutely. And really banging on that guitar there, Ben. I love it.
Wait until you hear him on piano.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. Well, we're going to book him. So we will.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sounds great with me.
And then when you move to LA, you can come perform with your own in person.
I would love to.
He does want to do that, though, so we'll get him there.
I'll be
Yeah,
there.
sounds good. Sounds good. Well, thank you both for being here today. What a wonderful, wonderful service. So you can leave your camera on. You don't have to get up and turn it off right now. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. We're going to I'm going to back up. Thank you all for being here today. A big thank you to Travis and to Robert for their support and assistance today. I want to remind you all that you can get our e-newsletter throughout the week, as well as you can get our New Thought text for the day. All of that can be accessed through our website, csl-la.org, as well as while you're on our website, you can go and support our community financially. There's a tab there that you can do that, as well as it gives you our address if you'd like to mail in a check. You can also use the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. There's a great way to support us financially, as well as use the resources that are out there. So I invite you to remember throughout the week what we covered today. Also, Wednesday morning, we have a midweek morning meditation. Feel free to join us then. And all of that information is going to be through our website, through our app, as well as through the e-newsletter. And so Yaron and Ben are going to take us out with a song called Let There Be Peace on Earth. I invite you all to listen to the lyrics as you sing along, because the second lyric is, and let it begin with me. We're doing that today not only as a reminder, but as a second instruction to begin to use this teaching in a new way that I covered in our message today. If you're on Zoom, you can stay on after we finish that song and say a brief hello to each other if you'd like to do that. And if you're on YouTube, we're going to say goodbye to you right after that. And I'm going to know for everyone that we have a fabulous, 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 fabulous week. So, boys, take it away.
All right. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, united on we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With each step I take, let this be my soul vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Have a fabulous Sunday, everyone, and a beautiful week. Know that you're loved just as you are. Peace out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.